The wind picked up speed across the alien forest. Park Hana watched her scanner screen turn red with warning signals. A massive storm was coming, and it was moving faster than any storm she had seen in 5 years on this planet. Everyone inside now. Choi Doyen's voice crackled through her comm device. This storm will kill anyone caught outside. Hana looked at the dark clouds rolling toward their research camp. Lightning flashed inside those clouds, bright purple instead of white. On this world, lightning could melt solid rock. She had seen it happen before. The research camp held 12 humans, all scientists studying the alien ecosystem. They lived in reinforced shelters that could survive almost anything this planet threw at them. Almost anything. Hana ran final checks on the perimeter sensors. These devices would warn them if any large predators approached during the storm. The forest was full of dangerous creatures, though most avoided the human camp. The sensors beeped green. All clear, Hana, get inside, Doyen called again. He stood at the entrance to the main shelter, waving at her. That storm will be here in 5 minutes. She nodded and started toward the shelter. The wind was already strong enough to push her sideways. Leaves and small branches flew past her face. The sky turned dark green, an ugly color that meant danger. Then she heard it. A sound cut through the howling wind. High-pitched, desperate, definitely not human. Hana stopped walking. She activated her audio sensors, the ones built into her suit. The sound came again, clearer this time. 2 voices, both young, both terrified. They were crying out in pain and fear. Hana, what are you doing? Doyen's voice held an edge of worry. I hear something, she said. Animals. Young ones. They sound hurt. Everything out there is about to die in this storm. You cannot save them all. Get inside. Hana pulled up her scanner. She adjusted it to search for life signs near the camp. 2 small signals appeared on her screen, just outside the safe perimeter. They were not moving. Trapped somehow. There are 2 juveniles trapped out there, Hana said, just beyond the tree line. They will die if I don't help them. And you will die if you go out there, Doyen said. His tone was firm but not angry. He understood her too well. They had worked together for 3 years. This storm is not like the others. The lightning alone will kill you. The cries came again, weaker this time. Hana made her decision. She grabbed the emergency rescue kit from the supply station. I'll be fast. 5 minutes, maybe less. Hana, if I die, you get to say I told you so at my funeral. She did not wait for his response. She activated her storm suit's full protection mode and ran toward the forest edge. Behind her, she heard Doyen cursing in Korean, but he did not try to stop her. He knew she would go anyway. The storm hit with full force as she entered the trees. Wind slammed into her like a physical blow. Rain fell in sheets so thick she could barely see 5 feet ahead. The temperature dropped 20 degrees in seconds. Hana followed her scanner toward the life signs. The ground was already turning to mud. Branches crashed down around her. A lightning bolt struck a tree 50 feet away, and the tree exploded into flames despite the rain. She pushed forward. The cries were louder now, coming from a collapsed tree den. A massive branch had fallen and trapped whatever was inside. Hana pulled out her cutting tool and started slicing through the wood. Hold on, she called out, not sure if the creatures could understand her. I'm here to help. The wood was thick and wet. Her cutting tool heated up as it worked. Another lightning strike, closer this time. The hair on her arms stood up from the electrical charge in the air. Finally, the branch split apart. Hana pulled away the broken wood and shined her light into the den. 2 small creatures huddled inside, pressed together. They looked like wolf pups, but larger, and with features she had never seen before. Sharp teeth filled their mouths. Their paws held retractable claws, currently extended in fear. Small wing membranes stretched between their front and back legs. These were not simple animals. These were something else. Something intelligent. Both cubs were injured. The male's left leg bent at a wrong angle, clearly broken. The female's wing membranes were torn and bleeding. They snarled at Hana when her light hit them, showing all those sharp teeth. It's okay, Hana said softly. She moved slowly, making herself seem less threatening. I won't hurt you, I promise. The cubs tried to back deeper into the den, but there was nowhere to go. The male cub snapped at her hand when she reached in. His teeth missed by inches. Hana pulled out thermal blankets from her kit. I know you're scared, but this storm will kill you if you stay here. Please trust me. She wrapped the first blanket around the male cub. He fought her, but his broken leg made him weak. She lifted him carefully, supporting his injured leg. He weighed about 30 pounds, all muscle despite his youth. The female cub made a crying sound and tried to follow her brother. Hana wrapped her in the second blanket and lifted her too. Now she carried both cubs, one under each arm. They struggled and made frightened noises, but the blankets limited their movement. A lightning bolt struck the tree directly above her. Hana threw herself forward, rolling to protect the cubs. The tree exploded. Burning wood rained down. A piece hit her shoulder and she smelled her suit melting. Pain shot through her arm, but she did not drop the cubs. She ran. The storm raged around her like a living thing that wanted her dead. Wind tried to tear the cubs from her arms. Rain blinded her. She followed her suit's navigation system back toward camp, trusting the technology when her eyes could not see. The camp lights appeared through the storm. Hana stumbled through the perimeter sensors. Doyen was there, grabbing her arm and pulling her toward her personal tent. Not the main shelter where the others waited. Her tent where she had privacy. Are you insane? He shouted over the wind. Probably, she shouted back. They made it inside her tent. Doyen sealed the door behind them. The noise of the storm became muffled. Hana set both cubs down on her sleeping area, keeping them wrapped in the blankets. What are those? Doyen asked, staring at the cubs. I don't know. I've never seen this species before. But they're babies and they're hurt badly. The cubs had stopped struggling. They looked around the tent with wide eyes. The male cub whimpered and the female answered him. They were talking to each other in their own language. Hana activated her comm. Dr. Kim, I need your medical advice. I have 2 injured juveniles of an unknown species. Possible predator class based on dentition and claws. Can you guide me through treatment? Dr. Kim Mirai's voice came through, professional despite the circumstances. Send me visual data. Hana used her scanner to record the cubs and sent the images. Dr. Kim was quiet for a long moment. Those are apex predators, Hana. Based on their muscle structure and weapons, they could kill a human even at that size. They're children, Hana said simply. And they're hurt. I need to help them. Another long pause. Okay, let's start with the broken leg. You'll need to set it before swelling makes it impossible. For the next 2 hours, Hana worked on the cubs while the storm raged outside. She set Raka's broken leg, using human medical supplies adapted for alien biology. The cub bit her glove hard enough to pierce the material, but she did not stop. She stitched and sealed Senna's torn wing membranes, working carefully to preserve future flight capability. The cubs fought her at first. They were terrified and in pain, and their instincts said humans were prey, not helpers. But Hana's hands were gentle despite their strength. Her voice stayed soft and calm. She gave them water through a dropper when they were too tired to fight. She offered them nutrient paste, a bland food that most species could digest. Slowly, the cubs' fear faded into exhaustion. They stopped struggling. They drank the water. The male cub even licked the nutrient paste from her fingers, his rough tongue careful not to hurt her. Doyen watched all of this from the corner of the tent. You know this might be a terrible mistake, he said quietly. We don't know what these creatures are. We don't know if someone is looking for them. Their parents might be apex predators too. I know, Hana said. She stroked the female cub's head gently and the little one did not pull away. But they needed help. I couldn't leave them to die. That's what makes you dangerous, Doyen said, but he was smiling slightly. Your compassion is going to get us all killed someday. Or save us all, Hana replied. The cubs fell asleep finally, curled together on Hana's sleeping pad. Their breathing became slow and steady. The terror left their small faces. They looked peaceful. Hana sat in her chair and watched over them. Outside, the storm continued its violence. Lightning flashed. Thunder shook the ground. But inside the tent, 2 injured children slept safely, watched over by a human who chose kindness over fear. She did not know that 20 kilometers away, a massive predator had discovered his children were missing. She did not know that Alpha Corvin was already tracking their scent through the storm. She did not know that her act of compassion would change the future of 2 entire species. All she knew was that 2 small lives needed saving, and she had saved them. For now, that was enough. Alpha Corvin returned to his territory as the storm began to fade. He had been hunting for 3 days, tracking prey through the northern valleys. The hunt had been successful. His pack would eat well, but something felt wrong. His mate had died 2 seasons ago, taken by sickness that even the pack healers could not cure. Since then, Corvin raised their 2 cubs alone. Raka, his son, was brave and curious. Senna, his daughter, was quieter but observant. They were his world, his reason for living beyond the duties of an alpha. He reached the pack's gathering grounds and immediately knew they were gone. A father knows his children's scents like he knows his own heartbeat. Their scent was old here from before the storm. No fresh traces. Pack members approached him, their heads lowered in respect and shame. "Alpha," said one of the younger warriors. "We searched during the storm. We found no trace of the cubs." Corvin felt ice settle in his chest. "They were here when I left." "The storm came suddenly, Alpha, faster than predicted. We think they took shelter somewhere and became trapped. Many died in that storm." Elder Thros approached slowly. The old Vryn moved with the careful steps of someone who had seen many cycles of seasons. His fur was gray where others were dark. His eyes held wisdom that younger Vryn often ignored. "They are dead, Corvin," Thros said gently. "The storm was too powerful. Even strong adults died. Cubs could not survive." "No." Corvin's voice was absolute. "I would feel it if they were dead. They live." He activated his enhanced senses, the abilities that made Vryn apex predators on this world. His nose could detect scents from miles away. His ears could hear a heartbeat from across a valley. His eyes could see in complete darkness. He found the scent trail, faint, washed away by rain, but still there. It led toward the Forbidden Zone, the area where the alien prey creatures had built their settlement 5 cycles ago. The humans. Weak, soft-skinned beings who came in metal ships from the sky. The Pack Council had debated killing them all, but Elder Thros argued for observation instead. The humans had powerful weapons that could hurt even Vryn, and they had not tried to take Vryn territory. So an uneasy peace existed. The Vryn avoided the humans. The humans avoided the Vryn until now. "Gather my warriors," Corvin commanded. "The strongest 5. We track the cubs now." The warriors assembled quickly. All were experienced hunters, each capable of killing prey 10 times their size. They moved through the forest like shadows, silent despite their massive builds. A full-grown Vryn warrior stood 8 feet tall and weighed over 400 pounds. Their bodies were built for power and speed. Thros walked beside Corvin as they tracked. "What will you do if the prey creatures have harmed your cubs?" "I will destroy their entire settlement," Corvin said simply. "Vryn law allows this. If prey harms Pack, Pack takes vengeance. And if they have not harmed the cubs?" Corvin did not answer. The possibility seemed impossible. Prey did not help predators. Prey ran from predators, hid from them, or died to them. Those were the only interactions that made sense. The scent trail grew stronger as they approached the human settlement. Corvin could smell his cubs now, mixed with strange chemical scents. Medicines, metals, and the weak, sweaty smell of human fear. But underneath those foreign scents, he detected something that made him pause. His cub's scent carried no markers of extreme pain or terror. He had expected to smell fear scent, the distinctive odor cubs released when truly terrified. It was not there. "They took them," one warrior growled. "The prey creatures stole pack cubs." "Quiet," Corvin commanded. He needed to think, not react with simple rage. They reached the edge of the forest as night deepened. The human camp lay before them, surrounded by weak barriers and simple defenses. Corvin counted 12 humans through his enhanced vision. All small, all weak. Their bodies held no natural weapons, no claws or fangs. They walked on 2 legs, awkward and slow. One warrior moved forward, eager. "We attack now, Alpha."
"Kill them all?"
"No," Corvin said. "My cubs are in there. We must see them first. Understand what happened. Then we decide." The warriors settled into position around the camp, hidden in the forest shadows. Vryn could remain motionless for hours, patient as stone. They were ambush predators by nature, used to long waits before the killing strike. Corvin observed the human camp carefully. His tactical mind, honed by hundreds of hunts, analyzed their defenses. Energy barriers surrounded the perimeter, capable of delivering painful shocks. Automated weapon systems tracked movement, their sensors sweeping in regular patterns. Guard rotations changed every 4 hours. Sloppy, predictable. The humans trusted too much in their technology and too little in constant vigilance. A determined Vryn assault would break through their defenses in minutes. The humans would die before they understood what killed them. But something held him back. His cubs were inside one of those structures. He needed to see them alive. Needed to understand what had happened before he let rage guide his actions. Elder Thros crouched beside him. You hesitate, Alpha. This is not like you. They are my children, Corvin said quietly. I will not risk them for quick vengeance. Wise. Perhaps there is more to this situation than appears. Corvin looked at the old Vryn. You speak in riddles, Elder. I speak in questions. Why do your cubs smell alive and unafraid? Why did the prey creatures take them into their camp instead of leaving them to die? Why have they not killed the cubs already if they meant harm? Prey does not think like pack, Corvin said, repeating the old teaching. Prey acts from fear and stupidity. There is no mystery here. Perhaps, Thros said, or perhaps we understand less about these particular prey than we believe. The hours passed slowly. Corvin watched the human camp with absolute focus. He saw them moving about inside their structures. They seemed agitated, talking quickly to each other, worried about something. He wondered if they knew he was here, if they sensed the predators surrounding them. Humans had weak senses, barely better than the simplest prey animals. They probably suspected nothing. One human appeared different from the others, female, based on scent, smaller than some, but she moved with confidence. The others seemed to defer to her on certain matters. She entered a structure separate from the main group and stayed there. That structure was where his cub's scent was strongest. Corvin's claws extended unconsciously. That human female was with his cubs, alone with them. He could reach her in seconds if he chose, could tear through the structure's walls and end her life before she screamed. But he did not move. Something about this felt wrong. Not dangerous wrong, but puzzle wrong. Like a hunt where the prey behaved in ways that made no sense. Those hunts required patience and observation, not immediate violence. The storm had fully passed. The sky cleared, revealing the strange stars of this world. 3 moons rose, casting silver light across the forest. Dawn was still hours away. Corvin settled in to wait. His warriors did the same, trusting their alpha's judgment even when they did not understand it. This was pack law. The alpha decided. The pack obeyed. Thros spoke again very quietly. When dawn comes, what will you do? I will see my cubs, Corvin said. I will stand before these prey creatures and demand answers. If they have harmed my children, I will kill them all. If they have not... He trailed off, unsure how to finish that sentence. If they had not harmed his cubs, then what? What did it mean that prey creatures had taken predator cubs and kept them alive? If they have not, Thros finished for him, then perhaps the old laws are not as absolute as we believed. Perhaps there are things we have forgotten in our certainty of being apex. Speak plainly, Elder. Long ago, before the current laws, the Vryn were not always predators. We were prey once, small and weak. We survived by forming packs, by protecting each other, by showing loyalty beyond blood ties. When we became strong enough to hunt instead of being hunted, we created new laws. Hard laws. Laws that said mercy was weakness and compassion was failure. But these laws are not natural law, Corvin. They are chosen law. We chose them. We can choose differently, Corvin growled low in his chest. You speak of changing the old ways. The Pack Council would call this weakness. The Pack Council fears change more than death. But you are Alpha. You can question the laws. You can choose a different path if evidence demands it. I see no evidence. Only missing cubs and prey creatures who violated our territory. Then wait for dawn, Thros said. See what the light reveals. Then judge. The night deepened. The forest grew quiet around them. Inside the human camp, lights dimmed as the prey creatures sought sleep. Only their automated defenses continued working. Blind mechanical vigilance. Corvin watched and waited. His children were close. Soon he would see them. Soon he would understand. And then he would decide whether this night ended in death or something else entirely. Raka woke first as dawn approached. Pain still lived in his leg, but it was duller now. Different. The strange knot prey had done something to it, wrapped it in hard material that held the bones still. The pain medicine she gave him made everything feel distant and soft. He looked around the tent. Everything was alien here. Strange smells, strange sounds, strange shapes. But it was warm, safe. The terrible storm was gone. Beside him, his sister Senna stirred. Her wing membranes were covered in clear material that smelled like medicine. She opened her eyes and looked at him. Brother, she said in their language. Where are we? Inside the knot prey's den, Raka answered. The weak ones. The ones Father says we must avoid. Senna looked at the human female sleeping in a chair near them. Hana had finally allowed herself to rest, but her sleep was light. Ready to wake if the cubs needed her. She saved us, Senna said quietly. When we were trapped and hurt, she came into the killing storm and pulled us out. Prey does not save predators, Raka said, confused. Pack law says so. Then why did she? Raka had no answer. He tested his injured leg carefully. The wrapping held firm. He could not run, but he could walk slowly. Senna tried flexing her wings. She winced at the pain but nodded to him. She could move too. They should leave. Find Father. Return to pack. That was what cubs did when lost, but something stopped them. The human had been kind. That word felt strange in Raka's mind. Kindness was for pack members, not for prey. Prey feared you or died to you. Those were the only options Father taught them. Yet this human had touched them with gentle hands despite their fangs and claws. Had stopped their pain, had given them water and food, had sat watch through the dark hours when they were vulnerable. Pack did those things. Mother had done those things before the sickness took her. I smell Father, Senna whispered suddenly. Close, in the forest. Raka inhaled deeply. Yes, Father's scent was strong on the wind. The pack was near. They could run to them now. Father would protect them, take them home. But what would Father do to the human female? The thought came unbidden and it troubled Raka. Father would see prey creature. Father would see violation of territory. Father would see threat to cubs. Father would kill her. The human who saved them would die. We should go, Senna said, but her voice held doubt. Father waits for us. Raka stood carefully on 3 legs, keeping his injured leg raised. He moved toward the tent's exit. Senna followed him. They could open the simple door mechanism. Humans had weak doors, easy for Vrin claws to manipulate. They stepped outside into the pre-dawn air. The camp was quiet. Most humans still slept. Only the watching machines moved, their sensors sweeping in patterns. One human saw them on his viewing screens. Choi Doyen had been monitoring the camp all night, worried about the cubs. He saw them leave Hana's tent and start walking toward the forest edge. His hand moved toward the alarm. Then he stopped. The cubs were not attacking. They were not threatening anyone. They were simply walking slowly because of their injuries, walking toward the forest, going home, he realized. Smart cubs, he decided not to sound the alarm. Let them go. Let this situation end peacefully. Hana had saved them. They were healed enough to survive, and now they would leave. No conflict necessary. Raka and Senna reached the edge of camp. The forest was just ahead. Father's scent was so strong now. They could see the tree line, the familiar shadows of home territory. But they did not enter the forest. Instead, both cubs sat down. Right at the camp's edge, facing outward toward the forest. They positioned themselves carefully, sitting up straight despite their injuries. Guard position. The formal stance young Vrin used when protecting something important. They were guarding the human camp. Doyen stared at his screens in disbelief. He had studied many alien species in his career. He understood pack dynamics, predator behavior, territorial instincts. What these cubs were doing made no sense at all. Predator cubs did not guard prey. Children did not understand honor debts. Yet here they sat, placing themselves between their pack and the humans who saved them. In the forest, Corvin saw his children emerge from the human structure. Relief flooded through him so powerfully that he almost howled. They lived. They walked. They were whole. He started to move forward, ready to call them to him. Then he froze. His cubs were sitting in guard position, facing him, protecting the prey creatures behind them. This was impossible. Cubs could not understand such concepts. Guard position was taught to young warriors after many seasons of training. It required understanding duty, honor, and sacrifice. Cubs knew only basic instincts. Stay close to pack, listen to alpha, avoid danger. Yet there they sat, his son and daughter, injured but determined. Guarding prey, what is this? One warrior whispered. They protect the prey creatures? Impossible, another said. The cubs are confused, injured. They do not know what they do. But Corvin knew better. His cubs were smart. Raka was sharp as his father. Senna saw things others missed. They were not confused. They were making a choice. Elder Thross made a soft sound. Not quite a growl, not quite a laugh. Do you see, Alpha? Your cubs understand something we have forgotten. They are children, Corvin said, but his voice held doubt. They cannot understand pack law. Perhaps pack law is not as simple as we teach, Thros said. Perhaps your cubs have learned a different lesson. One we stopped teaching long ago. Corvin stood slowly from his concealed position. His warriors tensed, ready to follow him. He raised one hand, signaling them to hold position. This moment required careful action, not violence. He stepped into the clearing, fully visible in the growing dawn light. The human camp erupted in chaos. Alarms blared. Humans stumbled out of their shelters, confused and frightened. Automated weapon systems activated, tracking Corvin with red targeting beams. Energy barriers increased power, crackling with electricity. Doyen's voice cut through the camp speakers. Contact! Large predator at eastern perimeter. All personnel to defensive positions. But Corvin did not attack. He stood still, showing no aggression. His eyes were fixed on his cubs. Raka and Senna turned their heads, looking back at their father. Then looking at the human camp behind them. Then back to their father, torn between instinct and something else. Something new. Hana burst out of her tent, still pulling on her jacket. She saw the massive wolf-like creature standing at the forest edge. 8 feet tall, powerful muscles under thick fur, eyes that held intelligence and calculation. She understood immediately. This was the father. The Alpha, come to claim his children. Do not fire, she shouted at Doyen. Nobody fires unless I give the order. Hana, that thing could tear through our defenses in seconds, Doyen replied. I know, but look at the cubs. Everyone looked. The 2 small Vryn sat between their father and the camp. Not running to him. Not attacking the humans. Simply sitting guard. Hana walked forward slowly. Doyen cursed loudly but did not stop her. She moved past the defensive barriers, completely exposed. She walked toward the massive predator with her hands clearly visible and empty. Corvin watched the prey creature approach. This was the female. The one whose scent was on his cubs. The one who had taken them. She was so small. Barely half his height. No natural weapons. Fragile bones that he could break with one strike. Weak flesh that his claws would tear like paper. Yet she walked toward him without hesitation. She stopped 10 feet away. Close enough to speak. Close enough to die if he chose violence. She raised a small device and spoke. The device made sounds in his language. Translation technology. Simple but effective. I am Park Hana, the device said in Vryn tongue. I am the one who took your cubs. I did not harm them. I saved them from the storm. Corvin rumbled deep in his chest. When he spoke, her device translated his words to her language. You are prey, he said. Prey does not touch predator cubs. This is violation of natural law. Natural law says strong protect weak. Hana replied through her translator. Your cubs were weak, hurt, dying. I am strong enough to save them. So I did. The logic was wrong, but Corvin could not immediately explain why. Prey was weak by definition. Predators were strong by definition. That was how nature worked. What did you do to them? He demanded. Why do they sit like warriors? Why do they not come to their alpha? Hana looked at the cubs. Raka and Senna had not moved from their guard position. They watched both their father and Hana, waiting to see what happened. I treated their injuries, Hana said. Your son's leg was broken. Your daughter's wings were torn. I used medicine to stop their pain. I gave them water and food. I kept them warm through the storm. I protected them. Prey does not protect predators, maybe not. But I do. I protect all life that needs protection, Corvin growled. This conversation was making no sense. He called to his cubs in his own language, his voice carrying all his alpha authority. Raka, Senna, come to father. Now. The cubs looked at each other. Then very carefully, Raka responded in the language all cubs learned. Father, he said, this human walked into the killing storm to save us. She fought through lightning and wind. She could have died. She fixed our pain. She kept us safe. She did what Pack does, Senna added her voice. She touched us gently, father. We could have hurt her. We have fangs and claws. But she was not afraid. She acted like Mother did, protected us when we were weak. The words struck Corvin like physical blows. Corvin lowered his head slowly. It was a small movement, but every Vryn watching understood its meaning. Then he extended one clawed hand toward Hana, palm down, claws retracted. The formal gesture of honor acknowledgement, recognition that another had acted with courage and deserved respect. The Vryn warriors behind him made sounds of shock. Elder Thros nodded with satisfaction. The human called Doyen lowered his weapon slightly, confused but hopeful. Hana stared at the massive predator's extended hand. She did not know Vryn customs, but the gesture felt important. Peaceful. She slowly raised her own hand and placed it briefly against his palm. His hand was easily 3 times the size of hers. Corvin spoke, and her translator carried his words. You saved my children when I could not. You walked into death to pull them from death. You gave them medicine and care and protection. This creates debt, old debt, the kind that cannot be ignored. I did not do it for debt, Hana said. I did it because they needed help. I know. That makes it more significant. You are prey creature, weak, small. You had no reason to risk yourself for predator cubs, yet you did. Why? Hana considered her answer carefully. She could feel all the humans watching her, waiting to see what happened. She could sense the predators in the forest ready to attack if their alpha commanded it. Her next words mattered. Because all life has value, she said finally. Because children should not die alone and afraid. Because the strong should protect the weak, no matter what species they are. These are human beliefs. Maybe you think they are weak beliefs, but they are ours. Corvin was silent for a long moment. Then he called to his cubs. Raka, Senna, come. The cubs stood and walked to their father. He examined them carefully, sniffing their bandages and checking their injuries with gentle movements. He saw the quality of the care they had received. Professional, thorough, done with skill and concern. He looked back at Hana. You did not harm them. You made them better. This is truth. Yes. By the new laws, I should kill you all. Prey does not touch predator cubs. This violation demands death. Hana stood straighter. If she was going to die, she would die standing. Then kill me, but let the others live. They did not choose this. I chose it. Brave words from Prey, Corvin said, but unnecessary. I follow old law now. The law my cubs remembered when adults forgot. You showed pack loyalty. You demonstrated courage. You earned honor. By old law, this creates bond. He performed another gesture, this one more complex. He touched his forehead to Raka's, then to Senna's. Then, shocking everyone watching, he lowered his massive head toward Hana. What is he doing? Doyen whispered over the comm. I do not know, Hana whispered back. But she sensed this was important. She stepped forward and let her forehead touch the Vryn Alpha's head. His fur was coarse and warm. She could feel the power in him, the strength that could kill her in 1 second. But he was gentle. The touch lasted only a moment. Then Corvin raised his head and spoke in a voice that carried across the camp. Park Hana of the human pack. You are recognized. You are honorary pack member of Bloodridge. Under my protection. Any who harm you harm my pack. This is declared. Elder Thros moved forward. The old Vryn looked at Hana with eyes that had seen many things. Do you understand what just happened, human? Not entirely, Hana admitted. Alpha Corvin has claimed you as pack. This is very rare, some would say impossible, but your actions earned it. You are under Vryn protection now. This will change many things. Over the next several days, an unusual situation developed. Corvin set up a temporary pack camp near the human research station. His warriors were uneasy at first, sleeping so close to prey creatures. But their alpha had declared pack bond and pack law was absolute. The humans were equally nervous. Having 6 massive predators camping nearby made everyone except Hana uncomfortable. But no attacks came. The Vryn kept to their area. The humans kept to theirs. Careful distance was maintained, but slowly interaction began. Raka and Senna needed continued treatment. Their injuries were serious and required several days of care. Dr. Kim Mirai worked with them daily, and Corvin allowed this. He watched carefully at first, ready to intervene if the human doctor caused pain. But Dr. Kim was skilled and gentle. She explained everything she did, speaking through the translator so Corvin understood. The bone is healing well, Dr. Kim said, examining Raka's leg, but he needs to keep weight off it for another week. Then we can remove the cast, Corvin asked, the hard shell around his leg. It holds the bone still while it repairs. Human medicine. Very effective, Corvin rumbled thoughtfully. Vryn medicine does not have this. We heal slower. Sometimes bones heal wrong and must be broken again. I could teach you the technique, Dr. Kim offered. If you want to learn. The Alpha considered this. Learning from prey creatures seemed wrong by new law. But learning new methods to help his pack seemed wise by any law. Yes, teach. Doyen had his own interactions with the Vryn warriors. He was security officer, trained in combat. The Vryn were natural warriors born to fight. They recognized him as the human combat leader and treated him with respect. One day, a Vryn warrior named Ven approached Doyen at the camp edge. "Your weapons," Ven said through the translator. "They are not claws or fangs, yet you trust them." "Technology," Doyen explained. "We humans are weak in body, so we make tools that give us strength, weapons, armor, shield. This is prey thinking. Predators need no tools, is it?" Doyen asked. "You are strong, fast, powerful. But my weapon can hurt you from 200 meters away, before you even know I am there. Does that make it worthless?" Ven considered this. "It is not honorable. Killing from hiding, but effective. Sometimes effective matters more than honor. Sometimes survival requires using every advantage you have." The warrior growled but seemed thoughtful. "Show me how it works." Doyen spent the afternoon teaching Vryn warriors about human weapons and tactics. They were surprised by the complexity. Humans fought like prey, yes, but prey that had found ways to kill predators. Traps, ambushes, long-range attacks, team coordination that did not rely on physical strength. "You fight like cowards," Ven said. But there was respect in his voice now. "Smart cowards." "We fight like survivors," Doyen corrected. "And survivors win." Hana spent her time with Corvin learning about Vryn culture. She asked questions constantly, and the Alpha found himself answering, explaining things he had never thought to explain before. "Why do you call us prey?" Hana asked one evening. They sat near the fire, watching the cubs play carefully despite their injuries. "Because you are weak," Corvin said simply. "Small, soft, no natural weapons. These are prey traits, but we survived," Hana pointed out. "We crossed the stars. We built settlements on alien worlds. We created technology that lets us compete with species much stronger than us. Does that sound like prey to you?" Corvin was quiet. She had a point. Prey usually died quickly when facing new environments. These humans had thrived. "You are strange prey," he admitted. "Maybe we are not prey at all. Maybe your definitions are too simple. Strong and weak. Predator and prey. Life is more complicated than that. This is human thinking." "Yes, but is it wrong?" Before Corvin could answer, Elder Throst joined them. The old Vryn lowered himself carefully by the fire. "She asks good questions, Alpha. Questions we should have asked ourselves long ago." "The old ways again, Elder?" Corvin asked, slightly annoyed. "Always the old ways because they are true ways. Before the current laws, Vryn understood that strength comes in many forms. Physical strength, yes, but also clever thinking, loyalty, compassion. We survived as prey by helping each other. When we became predators, we forgot this. We said only physical power matters. We were wrong." "The Pack Council will not agree," Corvin said. "Then the Pack Council must be convinced. Or overruled." Hana leaned forward. "There is a council? Other alphas?" 12 Pack Alphas, Thross explained. "They decide law for all Vryn. They will hear of Corvin's actions soon." "They will not approve, Gussie. Will they attack us?" Hana asked. Corvin growled. "They will try to force me to revoke Pack Bond. Say I was confused, emotional, not thinking clearly. They will say humans are prey and must be treated as prey. What will you tell them?" "I will tell them what I saw. My cubs sitting guard, protecting those who saved them. I will tell them a human risked death to save predator children. I will tell them we are wrong about strength and weakness. Whether they listen is a different question." 2 weeks after the storm, a messenger arrived. The Pack Council demanded Corvin's presence. They had heard rumors of his actions with the human prey creatures. They wanted explanations. A council meeting was called. Corvin prepared to leave. Raka and Senna were healing well, able to travel slowly. Dr. Kim had removed Raka's cast and Senna's wings were mending. But both cubs still needed care. "Take them with you," Hana said. "Show the council how well they healed. Let them see the evidence of what happened." "And you?" Corvin asked. "Will you come speak before the council?" "Would that help?" "Perhaps. Or perhaps they will kill you as prey that speaks above its station. Then I guess we find out what kind of leaders your council members are." Corvin's lips pulled back, showing teeth. Not a threat, a smile. A very human expression that looked strange on a Vryn face. "You are either very brave or very stupid, Park Hana." The council grounds stood in a natural amphitheater carved into the mountains. 12 stone platforms circled a central space where those being judged would stand. Each platform held 1 Pack Alpha. the most powerful Vryn leaders on the planet. Hana stood in that central space with Doyun and Dr. Kim beside her. Around them, hundreds of Vryn watched from the surrounding rocks. An audience gathered to witness judgment. The air was thick with predator scent and tension. Corvin stood on his own platform as one of the 12 alphas. Raka and Senna sat beside him, healthy now but bearing scars from their injuries. Elder Thra stood in the space reserved for advisors, his gray fur marking him as elder among elders. Alpha Vreka of the Stone Fang Pack spoke first. He was larger than Corvin, scarred from many battles. His voice carried authority and anger. Alpha Corvin, you stand accused of violating sacred law. You took prey creatures into your pack. You gave them protection meant only for Vryn. You declared pack bond with beings that have no fangs, no claws, no strength. Explain this madness. Corvin stepped forward. I follow old law, the law that came before our current rules, the law that says honor must answer honor. These humans saved my cubs from certain death. They risked their own lives to do so. That creates debt, old debt, the kind our ancestors understood. Prey does not save predators, another alpha called out. This is basic truth. Your cubs were probably their prisoners. They used them as hostages against you. Look at my cubs, Corvin commanded. Do they look like prisoners? Raka and Senna stood. Raka's leg was straight and strong, healed properly thanks to human medicine. Senna's wings were whole, the membranes repaired with skill. Both cubs looked healthy and unafraid. They look well fed, Vreka admitted. But this proves nothing. My son speak, Corvin said. Raka addressed the council, his young voice clear. The human female ran into the killing storm. Lightning struck all around her. She could have died. She reached us when we were trapped and hurt. We tried to bite her. We tried to claw her. But she was gentle. She stopped our pain. She kept us warm. She protected us through the dark. She did what Mother did before sickness took her. Senna added her voice. We sat guard position at dawn. Protecting the human camp. We chose this. We understood that she saved us. Honor required we repay this. It was simple. The council was quiet. Cubs speaking before alphas was unusual but not forbidden. What they said troubled many present. Cubs were not supposed to understand complex ideas like honor debt. The cubs are confused, Reka said. They are young. They do not understand what happened. I understand perfectly, Raka said with surprising force. I am my father's son. I know honor when I see it. Murmurs ran through the watching Vryn. The cub showed spirit. This was good. But his defense of prey creatures was wrong. Disturbing, Elder Thra stepped forward. May I address the council? Vreka gestured permission. Speak, Elder. Your wisdom is always welcome. Thank you, Alpha Vreka. I wish to remind this council of history. Our history. The true history, not the simplified version we teach cubs. Long ago, Vryn were not apex predators. We were prey ourselves, hunted by larger, stronger species. We survived by forming packs, by protecting each other, by showing loyalty and compassion even when it seemed weak. Those traits saved us. They made us strong enough to eventually become hunters instead of hunted. That was ancient times, another alpha said. We evolved, became stronger. Those old ways are not needed now. Are they not? Thros asked. We became so focused on physical strength that we forgot other kinds of strength. Clever thinking, technology, cooperation with those different from us. These humans demonstrate all these traits. They are physically weak, yes, but they cross the stars. They build incredible tools. They show loyalty to other species. Are these not strengths worth respecting? Vreka growled. You argue that prey equals predator. This is wrong thinking. I argue that our definitions are too simple, Thros said. Strong and weak. Predator and prey. The universe is more complex than this. These humans prove it. Vreka turned his attention to the humans. You female, Parkhana, you dare stand before this council. Prey does not speak unless spoken to. Yet I will allow it. Explain why you violated our territory, why you took cubs that were not yours. Hana stepped forward. Her heart raced, but her voice stayed steady. I took them because they were dying, because I heard their cries and could not ignore them, because all life has value no matter what species. These are human beliefs. We care for those who need care. We protect those who need protection, not because they are our species, not because we gain something from it, but because it is right. Right, Reka repeated mockingly. Prey speaks of right and wrong. This is amusing. Mock if you want, Hana said. But your cubs live because of what I did. They healed because of human medicine. They are strong now because humans showed them compassion. If that makes us weak prey in your eyes, then I accept that judgment. But we saved lives you could not save. We did what you could not do. Maybe that means your definitions need changing. The watching Vryn made sounds of shock. No one spoke to an alpha this way. Especially not prey creatures. Rekka stood to his full height, 8.5 feet of muscle and fury. You dare challenge me? You dare suggest I am wrong? I suggest your laws are incomplete, Hana said, not backing down. I suggest you mistake compassion for weakness. I suggest there are many kinds of strength and you recognize only one. Prove it, Rekka snarled. If humans are strong despite their weak bodies, prove it. I challenge your warrior male to combat. If he wins, we will consider your words. If he loses, you will all die as prey deserves. Doyen stepped forward. I accept. Doyen, no, Hana whispered. It's okay, Doyen said quietly. I knew this was coming. Let me show them what human warriors can do. Corvin spoke up. What are the terms of combat? Deathmatch, Rekka said. As tradition demands. No, Corvin countered. Combat to first yield. The human way. If Rekka wins, the human yields and accepts defeat. If the human wins, Rekka yields and accepts that humans have worth. No death required. Yield is shame, Rekka said. Yield is wisdom, Elder Thross said. Knowing when to stop fighting is as important as knowing how to fight. This is old teaching that we forgot. The council discussed this. Several alphas argued that only deathmatch had meaning, but others saw value in the human approach. Finally, they voted. Combat to yield was acceptable. But only this once. The central space cleared. Rekka descended from his platform. He was massive, easily twice Doyen's size. His claws were each as long as human fingers. His fangs could tear through metal. He moved with the grace of a perfect predator. Doyen stood calmly. He wore no armor, carried only a small device on his belt. He looked tiny next to the Vryn Alpha, fragile, breakable. You may begin, the council leader announced. Rekka charged immediately, using pure speed and power. He intended to end this in seconds. His claws reached for Doyen's throat. Doyen was not there. He had moved before Rekka reached him, rolling sideways. The device on his belt activated, creating a brief flash of light that blinded Vryn eyes for 1 second. 1 second was enough. Doyen was behind Rekka now. He touched his hand to the Alpha's back, right where the spine was. Then he moved away again before Rekka could counter. Point 1, Doyen said calmly. If my hand was a blade, your spine would be cut. You would be paralyzed. Rekka roared in anger and attacked again, faster this time, more careful. His combat experience showed as he cut off escape routes and herded Doyen into corners. But Doyen used the environment. He triggered small explosive charges he had set earlier, creating noise and distraction. He used smoke pellets that confused Vryn's senses. He targeted pressure points when he got close, hitting nerves that caused pain without causing injury. The fight lasted 20 minutes. Rekka landed hit several times, his claws drawing blood, but nothing fatal, nothing fight-ending. Doyen kept moving, kept adapting, kept finding new ways to avoid direct confrontation. Finally, Doyen created a trap. He lured Rekka into a corner where loose rocks made footing unstable. He triggered a small explosion that caused a rock slide. Not enough to kill, but enough to pin Rekka's leg temporarily. Doyen pointed his weapon at Rekka's head. Close range. Impossible to miss, yield, Doyen said. I do not want to hurt you more, but I will if you make me. You are brave and strong. You fought with honor. Now show wisdom, yield. Rekka struggled against the rocks. He could not move fast enough. The human weapon would fire before he could escape. He was trapped by prey tactics and prey weapons. He could feel the shame rising. To yield was to admit weakness, to accept defeat. His pride screamed against it. But another part of his mind, the part that had kept him alive through countless battles, recognized truth. He had lost. The human had demonstrated superior tactics. To continue fighting would be foolish pride, not strength. I yield, Rekka said finally. The words tasted bitter. But they were honest. Doyen immediately lowered his weapon. He moved the rocks off Rekka's leg and offered his hand to help the Alpha stand. Rekka stared at the offered hand in confusion. Combat is over, Doyen explained. Now we help each other. This is human way. We fight when necessary. We show mercy when possible. We do not humiliate defeated enemies. We respect worthy opponents.